Hello and good evening, everyone. Ilori Depot has come alive again after over 8 years of challenge which happened to the System 2B pipeline network, but palpably the depot can now pump up the volume of petroleum products to Kwara State and environs, even as the January 2020 refinery's full rehab commencement commitment made by Malam Military is reiterated. More money coming into the national coffers by Q4 of 2020 in taxes and royalties, with the sealing of financing deal for OML 65. We'll be telling you how much money is coming, plus other numbers. COMDP Batch 86 is looking at the sports and exercise side of things with the provision of state-of-the-art sports facilities at the Mosimi Corporate Learning Center. There are more stories in the details and we'll begin to unravel them shortly. Let me thank you for joining us again. I'm Akin Agbejule. This is all on Gas Forum.
One of the focus of the Petroleum Ministry today is to ensure that there is zero loss in the industry. Our production should get to destination.
Winning the competition, there was the obvious monetary benefits and the scholarship, per year throughout my university education. But much more than that financial benefits was the, benefit that came with the aura of winning the competition, the competitive spirits, working with different people and just, pushing myself to the edge, knowing that I could be better, I could, answer those questions correctly, having to work as a team with other teammates within, a very limited amount of time to give specific answers that were correct to the judges.
NNPC. We touch your lives in many positive ways.
Let's check the highlights. NNPC, NAOC and Oando execute innovation agreements for 4 oil mining leases to grow revenue and increase reserves. Fossil fuel to remain relevant decades to come, says NNPC GMD, even as Nigeria and India sets to deepen bilateral ties. Petroleum products now at the doorstep of consumers around Kwara State as the Ilori Depot comes back to life. Full rehabilitation of all refineries to begin January 2020, Malam Military has announced. NNPC DAPMAN to strengthen cooperation as the nation is poised to earn fresh $6.35 billion in taxes and royalties. Details are specific. NNPC moment to partner on energy security. COMDP Batch 086 has done very well on the health and exercise side of things. Details coming.
Within the school also, there is a bit a kind of knowledge, a kind of competition which they want to be picked as one of those that will go out and participate in NNPC competition. So really NNPC has imparted a lot in the life of students, not only in GSS Gwarimpa, but in the whole country.
The 21st ministerial meeting of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, GECF, will take place in Moscow, Russia this week. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipre Silva, will be leading the federal government delegation to the Gas Forum. The GECF is an international governmental organization which provides the framework for exchange of experience and information among member countries. It hosts world's leading gas exporting countries and was set up as international governmental organization with the objective to increase the level of coordination and strengthen the collaboration among member countries. To expeditiously grow the federal government's revenue and in turn boost the nation's reserve base, the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation NNPC, Nigeria Ajib Oil Company NOC, and Oando have executed a novation agreement for oil mining leases, OMLs 60, 61, 62, and 63. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Military, speaking on the significance of the novation agreement at the NNPC Towers in Abuja, said the agreement marked a significant milestone with the promise to bring about an amicable end to all litigations and arbitrations that have over the years inhibited the growth of those assets.
This will open road for NPDC to perform its responsibilities under the JOA, which means participating in all the operational issues that the JOA has contemplated, and also to become the effective contributor of cash call and any other financial obligation that the JOA has put in place.
He added that the innovation agreement offered NNPC partners the comfort that the NPDC will deliver on its responsibilities, stressing that the agreement will open a new chapter of business for NPDC and the entire partnership and create a new frontier for revenues for the companies as well as the nation at large.
Today we have given them all the comfort, all the conditions precedent for them to be convinced that NPDC will deliver on this obligation.
Similarly, the NNPC and the Nigeria Ajib Exploration Limited, NAE, signed the ABO OML 125 Head of Terms Agreement, which marks a significant advancement towards resolving issues which have lingered in most deep offshore production sharing contracts. With the development, the parties can now look forward to the renewal of OML 125 and further investment in exploring and developing ABO field resources. In his response, the managing director of NAOC, Lorenzo Fiorillo, said they were glad to partner the NNPC in its drive to increase crude oil production in Nigeria.
Said it was a very important roadmap we did together to find a solution, common ground, and this, as usual, ENI, Ajip is still with the NNPC and the local government to continue to support their own ambition and strategy.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has boosted access of Ilorin, Kwara State, and its environs to petroleum product supply as the corporation's Group Managing Director Malam Melekiari recommissioned the ancient city's NNPC depot. The Ilorin depot is part of the corporation's System 2B pipeline network, knocked down more than 8 years ago due to acts of pipeline vandalism. Speaking at the event in Ilorin, the NNPC GMD said the recommissioning was aimed at restoring petroleum product supply and distribution for the benefit of Nigerians and in line with the vision of President Buhari to make Nigerians happy and bring peace to every home.
We have delivered this depot, not without challenges. The transportation of fuel is easiest done through pipeline.
Kwara State Governor Malam Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, who witnessed the recommissioning of the depot, commended the NNPC for its foresight in restoring the operations at the facility, saying that the development will bring prosperity to the state.
I thank the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation for considering the plea of the people and the business community to relaunch a depot after over 5 years of inactivity.
The nation's refineries located in Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna will roar into life to refine crude oil at optimum capacity come 2022, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has assured. NNPC Group Managing Director Malam Melekiari, who disclosed this during a facilities tour of the Port Harcourt Refining and Petrochemical Company (PHRC), stated that full rehabilitation of the plant will commence January 2020. The NNPC helmsman's visit to the refinery was part of his strong determination and commitment to ensure that the nation's refineries deliver real-time value and address the petroleum needs of Nigerians.
We will stick to our schedule. We will deliver this project by 2022. We will commence actual rehab work in January.
In his presentation on the progress and milestones on Phase 1 of the projects, the TECMO project manager, Mr. Lamatina Camelo, informed that the inspection aspect of the project has progressed to 91%, and final report on EPC proposal stood at 75%.
We are totally fully aligned with the NNPC target. So between October and December, we finalize all the feasibility of this EPC to start on January and end by 2020.
In the same vein, the project consulting company ENI NAOC, represented by its project manager Daniel Taburini, confirmed that the work done so far by the NNPC and TECMO complied with global standard.
ENI will support our partner in Nigeria to reach
Earlier in his address, the managing director of PHRC, Engineer Abba Bukar, expressed appreciation to the GMD for its deep commitment in ensuring that the refinery works for the benefit of Nigerians.
Giving us all the necessary support in ensuring that we deliver to the best of quality.
The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Malamele Kyari, has said that fossil fuel would remain relevant in the global energy mix, saying contrary to assumptions in some quarters, crude oil demand will be very high even beyond 2040. The NNPC GMD made the declaration in his office in Abuja when he received members of a higher command course of the Indian Army War College on a geostrategic tour of Nigeria.
The ultimate result is to deliver energy into the global market and first to satisfy our domestic needs, and then of course become a very clear contributor to global energy, particularly in the area of crude oil deliveries into the market and that of LNG, which is, we know that some of the destination of our LNG goes into India.
In his remarks, the leader of the delegation, Brigadier General Sudi Malik, said India was the largest trade partner with Nigeria, stressing that oil formed a large chunk of the trade between the two countries.
In the times to come, with both the economies growing, there is immense scope for the bilateral trade to increase, especially in the energy sector.
The push by the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, to increase crude oil production and grow the nation's revenue profile gained momentum with the closure of $875.75 million alternative financing deal for the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC, operated OML 65 through the Funding and Technical Services Agreement with CMES OMS Petroleum Development Company, CPDC. NNPC Chief Financial Officer Mr. Umar Ajia disclosed that the project, which scope cuts across exploration, development, production, and provision of facilities with incremental first oil targeted for Q4 2020, was estimated to have potential reserves of 800 million barrels of oil equivalent with an ultimate recoverable reserve of 244 million barrels of oil equivalent and cumulative production of 44 million barrels of oil equivalent from the Abura Main and Abura Southeast fields.
This particular asset, OML 65, through our partners, will see us move production from 10,000 barrels currently to about 40,000 on average, and at certain peak it will reach 60,000 barrels per day.
We should look at ourselves as a team that has a target to deliver. We must deliver on this because
as part of concerted efforts to guarantee energy security in the country, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) and the Major Marketers Association of Nigeria (MOMAN) have resolved to continue to work hand in hand to grow the petroleum industry. Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malamele Kyari, in conjunction with MOMAN Chairman Mr. Tunji Oyebanji, made the declaration during a visit by the association executive in Abuja to the corporation helmsman. Speaking during the visit of the Downstream Association, Malam Kyari stated that the corporation was mandated to work with all relevant industry stakeholders to sustain the growth trajectory of the petroleum industry as well as ensure energy security of the nation.
It's our ambition to make sure that competition is returned to this business, growth is restored, which is also the cardinal objective of this government.
Earlier, the MOMAN chairman, Mr. Oyebanji, had congratulated the GMD on his appointment and expressed the readiness of his association to collaborate with Malam Kyari to guarantee energy security for the country.
Whenever there are challenges in the country as far as supply is concerned, NNPC looks toward MOMAN members to make the difference. So we will continue to do that.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) and the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria (DAPMAN) have pledged to strengthen areas of cooperation in order to stabilize the local energy market. Speaking while receiving the leadership of DAPMAN on a visit to the NNPC Towers Abuja, Group Managing Director of the corporation, Malam Mele Kyari, said the prime persuasion of the National Oil Company was to make business grow as enablers of the economy.
We'll work together, we'll create a very stable market so that we can grow, so that we can preserve jobs, and then the areas that we have no control, which is the PMS prices, for all of us, we'll manage it within the PPRA template.
Dame Winifred Akpani, chairman of DAPMAN, while highlighting some challenges that have encumbered their seamless operations, expressed confidence that the NNPC GMD will come to the rescue of the association.
We have been one of your main partners, and we hope to continue to be one of your main partners.
As a leading corporate social responsibility CSR organization, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC has commissioned state-of-the-art equipment to birth the establishment of Occupational Health Department at the University of Ibadan. The managing director of the NNPC Medical Limited, Dr. Musa Shaibu, who commissioned the equipment in Ibadan, said the donation was part of the corporation's efforts towards supporting education and deepening research in the nation's tertiary institutions.
Our design NNPC, as part of our corporate social responsibility, to support organizations that need areas of support.
Earlier in her address, the head of Department of Occupational Health, Professor Folashade Omokodion, said NNPC's intervention has placed the University of Ibadan on the global community of institutions with occupational health and safety as a distinct department in the College of Medicine, making UI the first university in Nigeria to achieve the feat.
I am delighted. I give glory to God. This is an answer to our prayers. We have had this dream for years of getting equipment in our department.
Responding on behalf of the management of the university community, the chairman, Medical Advisory Committee, Dr. Victor Akimoladun, appreciated the management of NNPC and assured that the medical equipment will be properly utilized for purposes of research, teaching, and services to various clients and stakeholders.
We most sincerely, as a management, appreciate the support of NNPC, the contribution of NNPC towards the commencement of occupational health services.
The Chief Officers Management Development Program COMDP Batch 086, codenamed the Consolidators of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC, has handed over a state-of-the-art tennis court, a football pitch, and a walkway to the Corporate Learning Center, Mosemi. The sport facilities were named after the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari. COMDP program is the transition training for senior officers who are prepared to progress to the management cadre of the corporation. Speaking during the commissioning ceremony of the CSR project executed by the Consolidators, the Chief Operating Officer Corporate Services, Engineer Farouk Said, represented by the Group General Manager, Engineering and Technical Division, Engineer Johnson Awuyemi, applauded the Consolidators for embarking on the project, which would not only support the work-life balance drive of NNPC, but also support the commercial initiatives of the corporation.
It's a great initiative. So the issue is that how do we maintain it? How do we sustain this kind of tempo? That the next batch, probably 090 or 095, should do something new and make sure this place doesn't go down. Well, this is very important. Work-life balance is very key.
In the same vein, the General Manager, Talent Management Department, Mrs. Enye Agbato, said it was a pleasant surprise to see chief officers who came for learning commit their resources towards achieving such a big project at no cost to the corporation.
In line with the leadership values of NNPC, that you see a business like your own, a business that must never die. And what you have done today shows that you've imbibed that.
Speaking earlier, the president of the batch 086 of the COMDP, Mr. Maruf Aremu, said the choice of the project was determined by its imminent impact not just on the Corporate Learning Center, but on the larger community.
We find that the project was more an altruistic opportunity to serve and to give back as we take our leave from this faculty.
is a pleasure to have you join us on the feedback segment of the program. My name is Julia Auta. The menace of crude oil theft is assuming an alarming dimension as Nigeria lost about 22 million barrels of its crude oil production in the last 6 months of this year. This nefarious act is a big threat to the national economy. On today's edition, our roving camera is asking the public of their suggestions on how best to control crude oil theft in the country.
Crude oil loss has been a problem, very intractable. As a governor, I was part of the solution of that problem to some extent. I came up with the amnesty program, which the federal government adopted and which resulted in at least a reduction of the losses. But we still have a lot of losses, and I think we should not have one drop of oil lost that has been produced. So we are going to focus on loss of production.
If this trend is not abated, it will therefore mean that by year end this year, we'll have lost over $2.5 billion US.
There's need for government to look at the system, and also for government to look at the welfare of the people living in those area, that is in the Niger Delta area.
Let them find something, either industry, tailoring or whatever, that we empower these people.
The government of this country is supposed to beef up security in that region and also empower the youth so that they will not be engaging in all those vices.
If proper thing is not done, most especially crude oil thieves in Nigeria, then we will be collapsing.
The government needs those who are within the vicinity to work with them hand in hand.
If the youth are gravely engaged, they won't be talking of, or they won't be thinking of how to vandalize our pipeline and other things.
The government should look into this by engaging our youth in some most job opportunities.
My best advice for those that are engaging in this kind of art is that they should know that there will be an end. Anything you are doing now, just know that one day you might be caught, or one day you might not get away with it, or one day you will stand before people like this and you'll be saying, had I known? So it's better to just desist from all this.
From the foregoing, there is urgent need for synergy between the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and other relevant stakeholders to stem these incidences of crude oil theft in order for the nation's economy to continue to prosper for the common good of all. And that's it on this segment. Please stay with us for the rest of the program.
As a beneficiary of the funds that NNPC disbursed as part of this competition, I can definitely say that it has been a very positive contributor to my life. I think that I was able to afford university, I was able to pay for books because I was a part of this competition, and it inspired me to continue to work hard in my chosen endeavor.
NNPC, we touch your lives in many positive ways.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on this segment of the program. My name is Tola Bubwadi. Did you know that the first exploration of oil and gas in Nigeria's territory took place in 1908? The outbreak of the First World War in 1914 delayed the inquest for oil in Nigeria. Did you also know that the Royal Dutch Company drilled 13 new oil wells between 1953 and 1955? The first commercial oil find was made at Oloibiri in 1956 in present-day Ogbia local government area of Bayelsa State. Did you know that the first Nigeria's commercial production in 1958 yielded a paltry 5,100 barrels of crude oil per day? I hope this has been quite informative. Please stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices were steady after falling the previous 2 sessions on industry concerns about rising supplies and signs of slowing demand. Brent crude futures were at $62.36 per barrel, down 3 cents or 0.05% from the previous close. U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures were 2 cents lower or 0.4% to $56.47 per barrel. Brent prices have dropped 3.6% since the close on Monday, while WTI is down 3.7% over the same period, weighed down by a surprise 2.4 million barrel build in U.S. crude inventories last week and the faster than expected recovery of Saudi production capacity after September 14 attacks on its production plants. Prices found slight support on hopes that the U.S.-China trade dispute may ease, potentially boosting oil demand. And that's it on this segment of the program. I am Wigo Okolo.
Well, for those out there, you can always make it on stage. You can always win. Just work hard, focus, and everything will come your way.
That's the package. Our next date is next Sunday, even as the new week officially begins. On behalf of the NNPC, thanks for your faith in the stakeholdership. Bye.